When you want to print a page, you do Control-P. What we do is we do Control-P, and in less than 2 minutes, you have a cornea that you can transplant in a person.
This is Aryeh But, the CEO and founder of Precise Bio. For him, printing tissues is like playing with Lego, only he does it with human cells.
At Precise Bio, we biofabricate tissues. Our focus today is in the field of ophthalmology. Essentially, we come to solve two types of problems. One of them is the lack of donor tissue. For example, on every cornea transplant that we have from a donor, there will be 70 people in the world that will not receive a tissue and they'll go blind. Or, for example, there's a therapeutic need, and if we can replace a damaged tissue with a brand new tissue that we fabricate in the lab, we can solve that problem. But essentially, we're a platform, and this platform in the future will enable us to fabricate tissues in other areas, for example, pumping hearts, kidneys, and essentially, the sky is the limit.
So where did the crazy idea of printing tissues even come from?
I understood that my technology has a very unique advantage in the fact that it can print biological materials at very high viability. And I started to do research, and I understood that there's a leading scientist, Dr. Anthony Atala, that 20 years ago, he already fabricated a tissue and transplanted it in a patient.
And like in any Israeli success story, it all began with a phone call to a friend from the army. To make a long story short, after a week, Aryeh was already at Dr. Atla's lab in North Carolina.
The first time I met Dr. Atala, I asked him, is there any interest for this technology? He says, what do you mean? Where were you for 20 years?
And you can probably guess what happened next.
The Israel Innovation Authority is investing in our cornea project, in our retina project, and now in a larger project in the field of bringing these technologies to the clinic.
So, how does it work, you ask? Tissues in the human body are composed of materials and cells.
So we start with finding the cells that we want for our implant. The next step is to find the materials, the natural materials that support the growth of the cells. And the last step is to combine between the cells and the materials and to form the final wanted structure.
In order to transplant engineered tissue, there are several tests that we need to apply: permeability, transparency, and mechanical properties.
We work with a group of physicians from the early stages of development and all the way through the clinical trials to provide the tissue which is easy to transplant and easy to use in the clinic.
When we walk through these labs here at Precise, we're going to meet biologists, we're going to meet chemists, we're going to meet engineers, we're going to meet software people, physicists. And essentially, this is what is required for the benefit of bringing the tissues to the patient's eyes.
Today, Precise Bio's great mission is to prevent blindness and restore vision to people.
People come to work at Precise to fabricate tissues, but what they're really coming to is to retrieve eyesight to people. Sometimes we don't understand what it means not to see. But if you ask a blind person what he would give to retrieve his eyesight, I think that's the answer.